left the list for your class, for your fun class.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. So what's new? Are you busy at work or?
Actually, yesterday I picked my new coworker up, and
Yep.
we drive our company's car to Yishun, the government's uh, the government's they have a uh, like co-workers. They have a company to get rid of the watch on the hand. So follow the people's trick because you are foreign. You come into Singapore. You need have 7 day. How you go? have 7 day quarantine in
Right.
hotel. After that, you need to uh, a company to uh, get rid of the watch on
I
your
see.
arms.
So they have like a tracking watch.
Checking watch. When
Um,
you arrive Changi Airport, the government staff give you uh, they use a screw so you cannot get rid of by yourself. Must
you can't
by cannot.
cannot take it off.
Yeah, by yourself. Only
Ah,
only get rid of by the government, but not government employee. The co-worker with the company.
yeah, of course. Yep.
You know? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, not I know, but usually they would outsource that to a company.
that outsource. Outsource means.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, outsource that.
Outsource. A new
Nice.
word for me.
There you go. Hi, Yukiko.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good.
Something new.
Nothing special.
Nothing new. And I saw you like 1 hour ago. Um,
Hour ago.
yeah. Okay, so today we'll just quickly get into it. Yeah, today we're talking about the passive. We have done this, a few times before, I think, but never really talked about it 100%. So we'll start easy, and then we'll work our way to the end, which is more difficult. So this will go from like pre-intermediate to upper intermediate.
Oh, this material belong to upper media material.
Well, starting at pre-intermediate, and then we'll work our way up to
Oh,
upper intermediate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Goes through from primary to upper.
From low to high.
Hello to.
Okay, so I think the most important thing with active passive is most new students or most beginner students, we tend to use active sentences, right? Active sentences. So for example, we would start with an active sentence, right? And that can be something simple as just subject, verb, object, right? So something like Matt teaches right? Matt teaches this lesson every week, right? Matt teaches this lesson every week. So we have a subject, we have a verb, and we have an object, right? Of course, we have a subject, we have a verb, and we have an object, right? The time is not really important in passive, okay? But we have a subject, a verb, and an object. So what happens in a passive sentence, okay? What happens, and you guys probably know this, so I'm gonna go a little bit fast at the beginning, but what happens in a passive sentence, right, is the object becomes the first part of the sentence, right? So in this case is this lesson,
Oh.
right? So this is our passive structure, okay? And the passive structure is always the same or always very similar, right? Then we have the verb. Okay, now the important thing about the verb and in passive and always, always, always in passive, right? The verb is always going to follow something along these lines, right? Is verb plus
Past,
PP.
past,
Okay?
past particular. Past
Past participle.
or
Yeah,
participle.
past
Yeah.
participle, right?
Past
So
participle.
in this case, we're looking here, we can see that this sentence is present, right? So we're going to use a present form of be, right? So of course, this lesson is, okay, is, right? So that's the be verb is, and then we're looking at the verb, and we need to find the PP of that verb. So teach, taught, taught, right? So really, really important that you study the past participles, right? Verb 3, right? So this lesson is taught, right? This lesson is taught, so we can, and then if we want to introduce the, the doer or the subject, right? If we want to introduce the subject, then we need to
Why?
use by, right? So we can use by, and then, right? This lesson is taught by Matt, right? This lesson is taught by Matt. So this is the same meaning, exactly the same meaning. Just we just change the structure of the sentence. We shift the object becomes the subject, or the object becomes the first part of the sentence. And why do we do this? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes, right? But if we look at another example, right, and maybe in this case, right, maybe this case we can go, the other way. So here we're looking at a past form. Right? So here we're looking at a past form. So in this case, we just have to do the opposite. We just have to do the opposite of what we did at the beginning. So Mike, can you give me this sentence?
Passive sentence.
Active.
Oh yeah, this passive. Uh, active. Yeah, active. The police arrest them. The arrest the 3 men.
Okay, good. The police, you're close, right? Because now we need to remember, right? The police here. So here we have were arrested.
Pass.
Here we have
Pass
were
simple.
arrested. So of course we have to,
Pass simple.
yeah, past simple.
Hmm.
Okay, so we remove be, right? The police
Arrested.
arrested, right? And then we have the,
3 men.
in this case, the object, right? 3. Right? Again, same meaning, just slightly different focus. Okay, slightly different focus. But the main part that you need to get out of this first page or this first part of the lesson is be plus
Plus.
PP. Okay, really, really, really important. So all passive sentences will have some form of be plus PP, right? Be plus PP. Okay, so if we want to talk about, we can do a few examples. And this get a little bit more difficult.
This sentence more difficult. No.
Yeah, this sentence is a little bit more difficult because here we're talking about present continuous, right? Present continuous passive. These two here we're looking at present simple, which is
Yeah.
just is taught,
Taught.
and past simple, which is were arrested, right? But here we're looking at is being taught, is being taught. So in this case, we're looking at be.
Oh, yeah. Something you do just know.
Yeah, now at the moment, right?
At the moment.
Yukiko, what's the active sentence for this?
What is teaching this class?
Right, Matt is teaching this class. Matt is teaching this class, all right? Okay, so I can say things. Okay, I can say like my wallet has been stolen, right? Has been stolen. So this is present perfect. So this is has plus be, right? Plus
PP.
PP, right? My bicycle or my wallet has been stolen. It was stolen before, still gone now. So we're using present perfect. So this is a little bit more difficult. How do we say this in active?
Active sentence.
Because we don't have
Yeah.
by, right?
Yeah,
Because I don't know.
we don't have objective, so we
We don't have
put
the person, right?
yeah.
Okay.
By
So in this case,
six.
I can say someone,
Someone. Oh, okay.
right? So this would come over here. I can say someone because I don't know, or somebody, right?
Someone.
Has stolen my
Wallet. Yeah.
wallet, right? So somebody has stolen my wallet. So here we're just looking at present perfect. Here we're looking at present perfect. So here are kind of all the different forms, okay? All the forms of be plus PP, right? So again, be plus PP, right? Really, really, really important. Every passive sentence will have some form of be plus PP. All right. So if we look at, so here is active and here is passive, right? So this is quite a nice little table. Most textbooks, if you guys have intermediate or above textbook, most textbooks have this. But for example, keeps or is kept, right? Keeps or is kept. So we can talk about, the bank keeps my money, right? The bank keeps my money, or my money is kept in the bank, right? The bank keeps my money is kept in the bank. Okay. Now, this is using keep because keep is one of those verbs where we can always use active and passive. Keep is one of those verbs where we can kind of always use active and passive, and it makes sense. Sometimes verbs, they don't work in passive tense. So is keeping, right, is being kept, right? Is keeping, is being kept, right? So here we're looking at, let's make that a bit smaller, B plus PP, right? Here's B being PP, right? And then here was kept, right? It's just B plus PP, right? So we're always going to see these two things. We're always going to see B plus PP in every single sentence, right? Here was being kept, so it's still B being plus PP, right? B being, right? B being. We're always going to see B, PP. Okay, have been kept, right? Have plus B plus PP, right? And P, this is just the past participle form of be, right? Because of course we have am, is, are, was, were, right? And then been. So been is the PP. So that's where this comes from. Okay, had been kept, will be kept, would be kept, would have been kept. Okay, so this is conditional. This is conditional present. This is future. So there's almost every tense that we have in English, we can use in the passive, almost every tense. So present infinitive, to keep, to be kept, right? To keep, to be kept. To have kept, to have been kept. Okay, keeping, being kept. right? So there's always B plus PP, B plus PP, B plus PP everywhere. Every sentence that we see, we have B plus PP. Okay, and then having kept, having been kept. Okay, having been kept. All right. So I don't want to spend too much time on that because this is something that you just kind of have to memorize, kind of have to remember. You know, let me make that a bit more pretty. Right. But you know, you just have to kind of memorize this really, really, really important, right? Memorize this passive voice structure. Okay, really, really, really important. Most of your textbooks will have that. I have like upper English file here. You can see that it's all right. So most have something like this. Okay, so we've gone through the passive. Okay, so we've talked about the passive. Matt teaches this lesson. This lesson is taught. The police arrested 3 men. 3 men were arrested. So why? Maybe a lot of my students ask why. If they both have the same meaning, why do we do this? Right? They both have the same meaning. Why do we do this? It's not because English is crazy. Okay, English is crazy, but that's not the reason today. So there's 4 reasons why, or 4 main reasons why we use the passive. Okay, so when I talk about the doer, okay, when I talk about the doer, what I mean is like the subject, the person who is doing the action. Okay, the teacher, the robber, the killer, the arrestor, right? But anyone who's doing the action, anyone who's responsible for doing the action. Now, usually this person is the subject, right? Matt teaches this class, right? So Matt is the doer, right? Matt is the doer in that sentence, right? So the doer is unknown. Okay, the doer is unknown. So what that means is if we talk about the doer is unknown, right?
Max, everyone.
Well, you know, I can say someone
Someone, yeah.
someone has stolen my bicycle, right? Someone has stolen my bicycle, but I don't want to talk about the someone. The someone is not important, or I don't know. Of course, I don't know who this person is. If I know who this person is, I'm going to go and get my bicycle, right? If I see Mike steal my bicycle, I'm going to be like, Mike stole my bicycle, right? But in this case, I don't know, right? I don't know who stole my bicycle. So it's just better to write. It's better to write this in the passive. It's better to say, my bicycle was stolen. My bicycle was stolen. Okay. My bicycle was stolen. Because I don't know who did that. I don't know who did that. My bicycle was stolen. So it's just a better, and then I don't need to say by someone, okay, because that's not important, right? That's not important. I don't need to introduce who did that. I don't need to introduce who did that, okay? So unknown. So all of these rules are very similar, by the way. Okay, so the next one is the doer is not important. The doer is not important. Now we talk about this in terms of, you know, something that happens every day, or something that is not so important to know who does it, but it's important to know what is done, right? So in this case, you know, I often use like the same example, right? Glass is made from sand, right? Glass is made from sand. So who makes the glass? Many people. I don't care. It's not important, right? It's not important who makes the glass, right? I can say
workers.
Yeah, by the workers. Of course I know who it is, but iPhones are made in China, right? So who makes the iPhones? It's not important. It's not important. Of course, those people are important, but what I mean is for this sentence. We're not going to talk about, you know, on every iPhone it says, you know, made in China, right? Designed in California, made in China, right? Every iPhone. But they're not going to say on the bottom of the iPhone, factory workers made this iPhone in China, right? Because it's not very handsome, this sentence, right? You know, we want to say made in China. It's like easy, clean, right? So we don't want to say, you know, oh, Joe, or yeah, Joe made this phone, right? That's not, you know, I don't want to see some factory worker in China's name on my phone, right? For example, right? So that's why we use the passive. It's a little bit more indirect. The doer is not important. The doer is not important. Okay? So the next one is the doer is obvious. Okay, the doer is obvious. Now, what does this word mean? Obvious.
Obvious means mm, uh, excellent.
Not excellent. Okay, so I
Yeah.
can say same example from before. Three men were arrested, or three men have been arrested. Yukiko, who arrested them?
Someone.
Yeah, but who? Who arrested them?
3 men.
Who arrested the three men?
Who are
Do you know arrest? Arrest? Do you know
Oh,
this
yes.
meaning? So who
Police.
did it? Can I do it?
Police? Okay,
Yeah,
police.
police, right? Mochiron, right? Of course the police did it, right? Of course, right? So obvious means of course. Right? Obvious means of course.
Yeah.
I don't need to say by the police. Right? Actually, it's not important because of course the police arrested them. I'm a teacher. I can't arrest somebody. Mike's a businessman. He can't arrest anybody, right? So the three men were arrested by the police. No need to say by the police. Just they were arrested. Everybody
That's true.
knows. Everybody knows it was the police.
Oh.
Right? Everybody knows it was the police. Right? Everybody knows it was the police. Okay. And then the last one. So here, this one's a bit trickier. It's very similar to number 2, whereas the doer is not important. But in this case, I'm saying the object is more important than the doer. The object is more important than the doer. So this is very common when we talk about products. When we talk about products. So if again, if we look at an active sentence, right? If we look at an active sentence and we say Steve Jobs, or let's say Steve Jobs founded, okay? Steve Jobs founded Apple, right?
Yeah, sure.
Steve Jobs, Apple, right? iPhone, iPad, right? MacBook, all those things. Steve Jobs founded Apple. Now, in this sentence, the focus is Steve Jobs. In this sentence, the focus is Steve Jobs. Maybe I'm reading a book about Steve Jobs, or I'm reading an article about Steve Jobs. I'm reading, you know, a blog post, or I'm on the internet reading about Steve Jobs. Now, in that case, fine, no problem. But maybe I want to focus on Apple, right? I want to focus on the company. I want to focus on the product. I want to focus on the thing, not the person who did that thing, right? So in that case, I want to bring that over, right? And I want to say Apple, right, was founded, right, by Steve Jobs, right? Apple was founded by Steve Jobs. Now, this is actually really, really important information. I can't take this away, right? Here I can say 3 men were arrested. The police is not important, right? I can take that away because it's obvious. but I can't say Apple was founded. I have to say by who or in 1970. Oh, sorry. You know, I have to say like in 1976 or something like that. I don't know if it's 1976, but I have to say by who or which time or something. I have to give some more information. Right? I have to give some more information. It's really, really, really important. But it's just a focus on, who created that thing is less important than the thing, right? It's less important than the thing, right? So same thing, iPhones are made in China. I'm talking about the iPhone. The iPhone is more important than the person who did it, right? The iPhone is more important than the person who did it. Okay, any question so far? And Li Ping, I know you're there, but I know you're hiding.
I'm Sai.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm fine. May I have a question?
Sure.
They were interviewing the director about the film, so I can change the basis if the director was being interviewed. So I can take away the by about film.
That's fine, unless we need to give that information. Yeah, we can, of course, we can say the director was being interviewed. The director was being interviewed, but we do need to maybe say about what, but it's okay. Yeah, where was the director? Oh, he was being interviewed. He was being interviewed. Maybe the subject of the interview is not important.
Oh, so
Yeah,
I can take away the about film.
I think so. Yeah, it depends. If it's important, don't take it away. If it's not important, then so it depends. What is the question, Li Ping? So just hold on. So if so if the question is, what was he being interviewed about, right?
No,
If I ask this question, then of course I must say what, he was being interviewed about the film, right? So it kind of depends on the question. What was the question?
Question is they were interviewing the director. They
were interviewing the director. Yeah.
About the film. Question is that.
So that's the active sentence, right?
Yeah.
But hold on. So wait 1 second. All right. So here we have a question number 1. Okay. Now this is not on your paper. I guess you have homework today.
Yeah, but I missed the last class, so I cannot do the homework.
Okay. So what I mean is, of course, this question is not on your paper, but sometimes when we do homework or when we have a worksheet or we have something in the textbook, right? We don't know the context, right? We don't know what is the original question, or it's just because it's just one sentence, right? So I'm trying to answer your question in like, what was he being interviewed about? Then yes, I have to put this because the question is, what was he being interviewed about? But if I say, if the question was, what was the director doing, right? So this question and this question are different, right? So the answer will be a little bit different. He was being interviewed. He was being interviewed, right? This is not important. I don't need to add this information because the question is, what was he doing? He was being interviewed. This is enough. But in this question, to answer this question, I must use this information. But for you, Li Ping, on your homework, you can choose to keep it or not to keep it because we don't know the question. We don't know what they're asking. Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay, I got it.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, you can say if you're just changing what Li Ping, what level are you in?
Intermediate.
Intermediate. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they
Same to me.
were. Oh, I see. You're doing the film unit, Steven Spielberg.
About the
Okay.
film.
Right. So they were interviewing the director about the film. Yes. So Li Ping, if you're doing homework, right, then we want to make sure that we answer exactly as the active sentence. So the director, right,
Was
and then
being
we're
interviewed.
interviewing. Yeah, very good. Was being interviewed.
So just like that is finished.
It's fine, but I would say because it's in the textbook, I would add this information, but it's not important.
Okay.
Yeah, I would add this information, but I don't need to add they, by them, by someone. Not important.
Yeah. Okay, so a take about film or not take is the same, right?
Yeah, same meaning, but he could have been interviewed about, his wife or his family or, but in this case, he was interviewed about the film.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of important information.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Can I help you finish your homework? All right. So if, okay, we'll keep our questions to the end. So the last thing is, it is said that he is thought to, so these are some passive structures that, I would never say, but you might see this on the news or something like that. So we might say something like, they said, this maybe come from like reported speech. They said the fire was started deliberately, means not accident, right? They did it on purpose. They said the fire was started deliberately. This is okay. This is still a passive sentence, right? This is still a passive sentence. We don't know, we don't know who started the fire. So that's why it's still a passive sentence. But instead of saying they, right, because this is same like passive, we don't know who that is. It's just like saying someone stole my bike, right? I can change this to it is, right? It is said that, okay, that is not important, but it is said that the fire was started deliberately. This is more formal. It is said that. I can say it is believed, right? It is believed that. It is thought that, right? So we can think about something like coronavirus, right? We can say at the beginning of coronavirus, we didn't know what it was or where it came from or why it came from somewhere, right? So probably if you go back and watch news about this, they're going to be using this language, right? Oh, it is said that it came from Wuhan, right? It is believed that this virus is very serious, right? But at that time, they didn't know, right? They didn't know about this thing. So usually, who is they? who is they, right? Or who are they, right? Usually they are doctors, experts, something like that, okay? Usually they are doctors, experts, etc. So who are they, right? Usually they're experts or something like that. So we just change it to it is said, it is thought, it is believed. Yeah, we can just change. It's just another form of passive. Not super important, right? Not super important, but quite formal. But if you're watching the news or you like to listen to BBC or something like that, then you'll probably hear this quite a lot. Yeah. But not so important. Just one of those extra things about passive. So, any questions? Difficult? Easy?
In the middle, in the between. Difficult.
Yeah, it's something that native speakers we don't talk like this. We don't use this all the time. We're not. I would never go into with my friends having a beer and being like, oh, it is said that this beer was made in Japan, right? I would never say that. I would probably just say this is a Japanese beer, or I like Japanese beer, and then my friend would be like, oh, is that beer Japanese? You'd be like, yeah, this is made in Tokyo. I'm never gonna, oh, it is said that Japanese beer has more calories than, I'm not. This is more what you're going to see on the news or or in newspapers or magazines or something like that. It's not so commonly in day-to-day English, not something we use frequently, if that makes sense. Yukiko, any question?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually think passive is quite easy because it's
Passive.
just. What is going on? It's just kind of remembering these different forms. That's the most important thing when it comes to remembering passive, right? So kind of being able to switch between active and passive. Of course, if you guys are doing homework or taking a test, and you go to class and your teacher, of course we have to teach you because it's our job, but just moving the object over to the subject and then making sure we follow B plus PP, and then if the doer is important, we put them on the end. Yeah. So, any questions? You guys have any questions not about passive, about your other homework or anything like that?
Homework. Yeah.
Or your other classes or?
So every sentence can use active to transfer to passive. Every sentence.
Mike, I don't know how long you've been learning English, but we never say every because there's always some exception. But of course, I couldn't say, if I say this is a pen, right? This is a pen. I can't change that to passive.
Oh yeah, because that's subject is be. I mean, if the subject plus verb plus
right, but if I
object.
say like I like shopping, shopping,
okay.
I would never say shopping is liked by Matt, right? Yeah, that's just some, again, when we're using passive, it's usually the sentence is complex, and usually it's more formal. So no, I wouldn't. We can't say every sentence can be. It can, but we never would.
Yeah.
We never would. You know, I couldn't say, you know, it is raining, right? It is raining, right? The sky is being rained,
It's
or
being
the
rained.
ground is being rained on. You know, you know, I wouldn't. Yeah, we wouldn't translate that using the passive. Again, this is more when we, you know, when the doer is not so important. That's, you know, that's kind of when the doer is not the focus of the sentence. That's the most important time that we use it, and you use it every day, right? You know, anytime you see something made in China, made in Japan, right? You know, I have a pen that says, you know, in Japanese, but like made in Japan, right? So that's passive, right? This pen was made in Japan, but we just say made in Japan, made in China, developed by this person, or created by, or something like that. So when the doer is not as important as the thing, that's the most important time that we use the passive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
I know.
Okay.
I see your face. You have question face.
I comparative is okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So the woman drive more careful than men.
Okay.
So I think this is correct, but not correct.
What? Sorry. One more time.
Women drive more careful than men.
No. So in this case, you keep carefully.
Carefully, yes. Why carefully?
Because in this case, we're talking about the verb. We're not talking about women. We're talking about the verb. So, you know, if I say women are more careful than men, this is okay, right? Because we use be plus adjective, right? Be plus adjective, right? So in this case, we're using more careful, right? They are more careful. But because we're not describing, and here, you know, here we're describing women, right? So here we're describing women. Women is a noun, right? So adjectives describe nouns, right? Adjectives describe nouns. Adverbs describe verbs, right? So in this case, we're not talking about women. We're talking about women driving. So we're trying to describe the verb. That's why we say drives carefully, right?
Oh, yeah. So carefully is other word. Yeah. Other word.
So,
Okay.
you know, I can say I eat, right? I eat more quickly than my wife, right? I eat more quickly than my wife. So I'm focused on eat. So I eat quickly, right? That's why we use an adverb, because we use an adverb to describe a verb. We use an adverb to describe a verb. So I eat more quickly, right? But if I say, right, I am a quicker eater than my wife. Okay, this is not a good sentence, but just for example, right? I'm using an adjective to describe a noun, right? So more slowly, more carefully. In this case, we're describing an action. So we're describing an action. Anytime we use an adverb, we're describing, in this case, this type of adverb, we're trying to describe the action. We're trying to give more information about the action. So I can say, she is beautiful, right? She is beautiful, I'm talking about the person. The person is beautiful, but I can say she sings, right? She sings beautifully. I don't care what she looks like. Her physical appearance is not important. I want to know, how does she sing, right? So I'm describing the action. I'm describing the action.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. English structure.
So yeah. But that's just the difference between adverbs and adjectives. But there are many different kinds of adverbs. We don't want to talk about that today because we don't have enough time. But yeah, adverbs of place, adverbs of time, adverbs of manner, many different kinds. Yeah. Anything else?
Okay.
It's okay. If nothing else, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'll leave it at that then. So thank you guys. Obviously, you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, no idea what we're going to talk about next week, but that's something. Any requests?
Tomorrow is China's traditional festival.
Mooncake,
Mooncake.
mid-autumn festival.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any plan, Mike?
ULC will make some mooncake for children, for students.
Yeah, Mike. All this week. This week we have mooncakes
Oh,
outside.
I mean no extra party that like that.
We can't have parties now, Mike.
Okay.
Only 5 people can be invited. So no party, but we do have mooncakes, and we put up some decorations in the school for mid-autumn festival.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe Christmas next maybe have a party. ULC.
I hope so. I hope by Christmas we can have a party. I miss our parties.
Yeah, because I found a video on about ULC. They celebrate some last year. They celebrate.
F1 party.
Yeah. I forgot what's the party's name, but it's a festival last year.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I know. I wish we could do that. So, but soon, coming soon. When all this coronavirus is over. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you guys. Thanks, Li Ping. Thanks for asking a question. I love questions. So, Li Ping, no. I mean, you said maybe that's your sister's name, daughter?
Huh?
Are you Li Ping?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Li Ping.
Li Ping from Fujian? No.
Yes.
Oh, like my Li Ping? Like my student Li Ping?
Yes.
Wow.
You have good memories.
Yeah.
Maybe at intermediate advanced class.
I know, but Li Ping now.
Mark.
Yeah.
Mark.
Mark.
your
Mark's
teacher's
class.
Mark.
Okay.
Yeah. My teacher is Mark.
Wow, we think
You
your
are
English much
intermediate.
better now.
Yes.
Good. You must go to a good school.
What?
No, I'm just joking. Just saying. I
Go
think
to
you go
school.
to a good school because your English is so good. I'm just joking.
Pardon?
Nothing. Okay, so thank you guys. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, next
Thank you.
next Wednesday. See you.
Bye bye.
Bye
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
teacher. Bye.
Bye, YouTube.